surface.
We ain't touched the surface.
Damn, I'm scared. I'm afeared.
Don't.
Is that a word? I'm trying to
Feared.
sound deep. Afeared. Is that a word?
Afeared.
I'm joking.
You were better off saying a different language. Like, speak some French or something.
I'm being silly. So, but all jokes aside. What's up, y'all? This is your boy Stone, a.k.a. that strange guy that's trying to figure life out. I'm here today with very wonderful friend of mine. She is a podcaster, business owner, entrepreneur. I can say 150 things, but let's get into it. Sabrina, thank you for coming. How are you?
I am awesome. How are you?
Oh, man. Life can't get better.
Yes, it can. It will.
Oh, well, listen.
Yes, of course.
Say that. Say it twice. Say it twice.
So funny.
You know? So let's talk about Sabrina today.
Wait. Okay, so okay. It's so funny. Ever since I started podcasting,
Right.
I hate hearing my name.
Really?
I literally last night, the guy said my name like 3 times, and I was like, I'm about to take you down. Do not.
Well, let's not be violent.
No, of course not. So Bree, I like Bree.
Okay, we'll say Bree.
Yes.
We'll say Bree.
Yes.
Bree. I won't call you the government.
Yes, just not like I got people looking for me or anything. 'Cause I
I mean, if you got a couple more, it's all right. It's a safe space. This is no judgment zone.
Right. Okay. It's between us.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
No snitching.
No, we don't.
So you have been in the podcast game for some time.
Yes.
He said what?
Yes.
He said what?
He said it. You said it right too. Like,
I follow you.
I know, but
I know what you do. Am I doing that right? Can I do that or no?
You can do that.
I don't know.
You
I
can
don't
do
know if I'm
that.
supposed to.
It's okay.
Yeah. Okay. By the way, she came in with a rock star jacket, so I had to throw mine on. I'm like, I can't,
Can't be shown up by her.
You know what I'm saying? I had to meet you halfway, and I got on my Black Panther, Chadwick, But so let's start with some things with Bree.
Yes. So funny.
Okay, so let's start with the origin first.
Yes.
Then we'll go into the meat and potatoes of this.
Okay.
So Bree started where?
Connecticut.
I'm
from
so
Connecticut.
She come from some money.
You better cut it out. We ain't got no money up there. That's why I'm down here. Hello. Yeah, no, I'm from Connecticut. I'm born and raised Hartford, Connecticut. I feel in my soul that I should have been.
There's not a lot of poor people in Hartford, Connecticut. But please carry on. Don't pay me no attention.
I feel in my soul that I should have been born in the South. Because I feel like my personality, my hospitality all fits the South. Right. Up north, if you come across someone that's from New York or just anywhere up in the New England area, they're a little bit more aggressive.
Right.
Just hard. Everything is just super with them. And I come to realize as an adult, that's a defense mechanism. We're like that because if you don't know me and you just approach me and you start talking to me, I don't know.
Trauma response.
You get trauma, and I'm trying to figure out, why are you talking to me? Are you trying to see if you can basically rob me? So you got to be aggressive and stern and don't talk to people that you don't know. That's why I didn't realize that until I was an adult. And
trauma response is basically.
Yeah, I feel like I'm happy-go-lucky, pretty in pink type of girl. I talk to strangers. So I feel like I should have been born in the South.
Okay. Well, you're here now.
I am here now.
How long have you been in the South?
It'll be 8 years in December.
Okay.
Yes.
So you moved here. Okay. So you were just
December.
when you were doing, and shout to JQ.
Yes, Cypher's in.
So when you started doing Cypress then. You had just moved here then.
Yep. I started Cypherton in 2015, and I moved here December of 2014.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So, but I had knew Q. It was so funny. I met Q through LinkedIn because at one point I had a business where I was promoting unsigned musicians. And so my job was, okay, well, let me find a way to market your craft. Let me see what radio shows I can get you on as an artist. And I wasn't charging them anything.
Really?
Yeah. And so that's how I reached out to Jaquan because he had the Cypherton radio.
Right.
And we just started sending messages to one another, and we stayed in touch. And I went from living in North Carolina, because I was in North Carolina, to back to Connecticut. We stayed in touch. And then I moved to Georgia, and I was like, wait a minute. I know somebody down here.
Okay.
And it was him. And that's how we just linked up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you were doing a lot of the promotions and coordinating and everything, and you were there, but you were always in the background.
Right.
Because these were like big poetry events we used to do. And,
Right. Yeah.
You were in the background.
I was doing the social media and making sure that, we had
Fussing
the
the
acts.
dust to be on time.
Yes. Yes. Poets. They're never on time. Ever.
I feel attacked right now. I feel so attacked.
As you should. No. But yeah, that was my role. I was behind the scenes, even though I write poetry.
Right.
Not
But
a
you
lot
poured
of
in your
people.
own?
Yeah. Like, I do a lot of things,
Yeah.
but I like to be behind the scenes because I just feel like I can get more done without being in the front.
Yeah. So you were doing promotional things. This was in North Carolina and
Yes.
In Connecticut.
Yeah.
So how does Bree move from doing promotions to having radio shows to having her own network?
Yeah.
Let me say that again. I don't know if y'all understood what I said. Having her own network. Okay, now carry on. I just wanted to be sure I said that so they would understand. Yeah.
If emphasis was a person,
Yeah.
this is what it would look like. So I did everything while having a 9-to-5.
Right.
So I right now I have a 9-to-5. But for me, I felt like, okay, I can help people, but I can also do something that I enjoy doing, which is talking to people. I enjoy interviewing. And so the best way for me to combine both worlds was to venture out and start a podcast show. So my original podcast show was called Dear Love.
Okay.
And I created it with the whole concept of everyone has something going on that they want to talk about, but they're afraid of being judged.
Right.
So they can't live in transparency.
Right.
So this show would actually allow people to call in and tell me what's on your mind. Tell me what's bothering you.
Right.
And I would literally have, my guests were psychologists, they were therapists, they were all professionals who could recognize if there were mental illnesses that was not being, we weren't attentive to or weren't even aware of.
Okay.
And I did that for a couple of months, and then COVID hit. And when COVID, and this was going into an actual studio and having my guests come in, so when COVID hit, it put everything on pause.
Right.
And for me, I felt like, well, this is the time that people really need to be able to talk and vent and get things out. And so, we figured out a way of how to keep the show going, but I just felt like, when you know how to do something and you're following under someone else and you know that you feel like it's not being done to its best. After some time, you're going to just want to take that leap of faith and do it on your own.
Right.
And that's what I did. I ended up jumping off the cliff itself and creating my own podcast network. And it started off with just the one show. He said, what? And slowly, I started meeting more people that I felt had the personalities. And I added more and more shows. And I've taken shows off, too. It's just finding that balance.
Finding that. I mean, because all things don't, you may throw something, it doesn't necessarily stick, so you have to find the niche that you're looking for.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
So right now, I have 4 shows. And the shows themselves, the summary, I won't say the summary, the concept of this network is to bridge the gap in communication between Black men and women.
Okay.
And so there's so many ways that you can do that.
Right.
And the way that we do it through sports, we do it through spirituality, we do it through relationships, and we do it through finance.
Okay.
So,
Okay. And you probably, but the relationship probably is where the bread and butter listeners come from.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So now you don't do the artist promotion anymore. I'm only asking that because I didn't want to leave that just in case.
Right, I don't. I had a show for musicians as well, and I did that for about a year, and then I put that on the back burner. I am thinking of bringing it back and just revamping it a little bit, but right now, no, I don't do that.
Okay. Yeah. So to get into that the relationship part, because I listen to you. Yeah. I listen to you. One of the things I really like that you do, and I'm giving you some kudos. You seem to be able to not necessarily judge or blame. You seem to be very good at that work. Because typically, a lot of the shows I do listen to, there's either a person that goes one way to the other side where, that demographic is always wrong.
Right.
We don't make mistakes. It's all that other side.
Right.
Or it's, these, the perspective of, you are the problem.
Right.
Whereas sometimes it could be both parties that's wrong.
Oh, yeah.
It could be just the energy that you two give each other may not be right. Sometimes we can be two good people in a bad time. Right? And one thing I love about your platform is that you leave it open for everybody to speak. You don't necessarily attack people if they're wrong. You know what I mean? Because, we have, I'm only going to use them, and not to speak ill of the dead, but we had, the Kevin Samuels was one extreme where it was like, I'm going to hurt your feelings, and I want you to feel bad when I get done.
Right.
And you had, what is the guy's name? The guy that sits in his car that was cheating on his, Derek Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
Where he was more of to me, he was more of a panderer. He's going to say what you want to hear.
Right.
Instead of what's real. Right. Because, it's not like he's a licensed therapist. He was just saying what he felt as a person. Right. But what I like about your platform, I can't say that you pander anybody or you stay on one side of the fence or the other as much as you try to just, these are the facts, this is what I have, and this is what I know, this is what I'm going to give you.
Exactly.
And this is what we're going to try to do. So I commend you on that. That's really good because we don't get that often.
No, because it's like we're so quick to want to blame somebody else but not take accountability for what we put into it. So if it failed, it can't fail because of one person.
Right.
I mean, what did you contribute? Or what did you not contribute? Because when you don't contribute, sometimes that's as damaging as what you did contribute.
Right. Absolutely. So,
yeah, it's a lesson. And it took a lot of growth for me to even be able to have those type of conversations because, I'm a female and I have my ways where I'm like, I didn't do nothing wrong. It wasn't me.
Right.
It wasn't me. But then I had to grow up and realize, okay, well, if it wasn't you, then is it always him? Is everybody wrong? And you're always right? So I definitely try to push that by giving people the opportunity to live in your truth.
Yeah.
And know that you're not going to be judged on the show, because whatever you went through, whatever you did, it worked for you at that time.
Right.
Hopefully you learned something from it, but it doesn't make you a bad person.
Exactly. And I think that's where, a lot of times conversations are not had properly because instead of us going to a place, well, what's our resolution? We discuss relationship problems with finger pointing. This is what you did that hurt me and I don't like it. And this is where, well, you did this. And
right.
So now you have two people that are basically trying to just be heard, and a lot of times trauma, if you see people lashing out, a lot of times that's trauma trying to be heard.
Yeah.
Right? Like when you see that lady or that guy that's just yelling for no reason in a line at Kroger, he just wants to be heard.
Yeah.
She just wants to be heard, or they, whatever your pronoun is.
Yeah.
So when you put that all in perspective, a lot of times when you have those relationship discussions, there's no solution being talked about. There's only, well, you did this, well, you did that, and we don't have a middle ground where we say, okay, here are all the problems. This is the list of the problems. How can we compromise and get to the solution? Here are solutions. What solutions work for you? What solutions work for me? You know what I mean? And that's something I'm glad you have a dialogue for, where people can feel comfortable and not feel like you're going to be attacked.
Right. And I tell you, I learned so much just from having like my male guests come on and speak their truth. And you were a guest on my show before.
I was?
He was a guest, y'all. I'm done. I learned so much just from listening to men. And the number one thing that I learned was, as women, we need to listen. We need to listen. Like, if you just be quiet and you sit here and you let a man talk, he gonna tell you everything. Especially if he realizes that you're listening and paying attention.
Can I tell you something really deep?
Sure.
Something really deep. In a past life, I may or may not have worked at a strip club, right? This is long time ago.
Okay.
So I was basically the Jamie Foxx, right?
Okay.
I was the guy that spent the music. I was spinning music, right?
Right.
So, you know, the number one thing that most of the guys came in there to do, to just sit and talk and be listened to. Mm-hmm. If you watch, I hate to bring these up, but there are some documentaries that came out in the early 2000s about ladies of the evening, let's call it that, you know, and you know, sex workers, you know. The number one thing they said that regulars wanted was to talk. It was not about the physical. It was not about that he was some, you know, deranged person that wanted to do these freaky acts. Had nothing to do with that. They were like, their regulars really just want to talk. It's like, I'm a therapist, you know, by default. And it's like, if a man is willing to pay a woman whatever they paying, you know, to just sit and talk, that says a lot. You know, just like there are men who stop at the bar because they don't want to go home, right? But you can't say that, because then it's like, you must hate women. No. That man and that woman have an issue with communication. That has nothing to do with, you know, because a lot of times we put everything in the same box, right? It's like all men this, all men. No, all men don't. All women don't do anything.
Right.
These women do that.
Yes.
And those women do that. And we have to understand there's a such thing as human nature. The only difference between a no good man and no good woman is one want more money, one want more sex. But at the end of the day, they're the same thing, because they're still being whatever they're being, you know. And it could be, again, going back to what I said before, it could be just trauma.
Yeah.
You know, you may have went through something in your past that, you know, makes you feel whatever. Like, I've dealt with mental health issues, you know, and I say that I don't hide it. If you ask, I'll tell you, right? But a lot of us, especially, you know, speaking in the black community, that's a no-no to say out loud. Like people gonna think you're crazy.
A crazy uncle that always be at the cookouts.
Yeah, and it's like, if somebody would just sit down and figure out what happened, it could be PTSD. It could be, you know, like even some of us have broken homes where our parents split, and you know, you may have got bounced around a little bit, which, you know, I've went through that.
Yeah.
It could be the fact that maybe there was an abusive parent. You know, maybe there was a parent who was, you know, whatever was happening.
Right.
And these things go unchecked, because in our community, you just need to go to church and pray. That'll heal everything.
Unless you're trying to get a special check.
Yeah.
Unless you're trying to get a special check, then that's when, you going to get diagnosed.
Yeah. Now for that check,
yes.
Like, well, we gotta, you know,
pray it off.
Get that check. Yeah, you know, pastor. And the thing is that, you know, then I'm gonna ask your opinion on something. I'm gonna get to something to ask you. The thing is that earlier I had a conversation earlier about the church, right? Because a lot of our, and in the black community, a lot of our thought processes kind of begin from a church background, right? So the question I have for you, because we're gonna talk about relationship stuff. That's your wheelhouse. Let's go there. Let's go there. Okay. I've never done this on my podcast, by the way. You'll be the first time. No.
Hey.
Usually I talk about nerdy stuff. We do talk about mental health, but this is the first time I'm gonna do relationship stuff.
Okay.
So, seeing that things begin in the church, why do you, from your perspective, think that now our youth are so far away from that? Because it seems like the church is the last thing in relationships now.
Look at the corruption in church. Look at the pastors. The pastors touching the boys, touching the girls. Who can you trust, honestly, in a church at this point? And I think because of technology and the fact that we have social media and now you can learn about it quicker, like almost at the same time of it happening, and have solid proof because you have videos, you have audios, you have pictures of pastors in compromising positions.
I'm turning around.
Don't turn around. But I'm just saying. So at the end of the day, you realize, well, what makes this person more special than me?
And you know, that's what's different for us growing up because you couldn't say a bad word on pastor.
What?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's a look. You get the death wish.
Yeah.
Don't you say nothing about that pastor. You know what I'm saying?
Pastor over there touching on cheeks.
Yeah, you know. Or, you know, you walk in on a pastor doing something.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like the new generation, things are instant. I can just take my phone out, boom, it's on Instagram, and 50 people done seen my pastor do something,
canceled.
Right? Whereas like back in the day, everything was. I think in our community as a whole, you hushed about certain things. There were certain things that you never. There was that uncle who be like, hey, your uncle such and such gonna be here. Don't let him give you nothing. Don't let him give you no candy, no money, no nothing.
Don't open the door when I'm not here.
Yeah, right. Even if he come over, he can't come in. Don't just tell him the mama said can't nobody come in. I made it clear. You know what I mean? And it's like, but we kept that a secret.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's probably some trauma that some of our women, girls, and so on and so forth are still dealing with the trauma from something that happened in childhood because that went unchecked. Right. And she was made to feel bad as opposed to him being the problem.
Right.
Like, don't talk about your uncle. You know he da-da-da-da. And it's like, well, she's dealing with something that she needs help too. Right. You know, where's her help? And so that's where I think you would come in.
So the interesting thing, right, I'm sitting here, I'm listening to you, and I'm soaking it in. And what comes to mind for me, it's almost like a mental slavery.
Yeah.
Because
I like that term.
We've already suffered slavery in the past. And so now, with us having this technology, and we're so far and so improved, it's almost like we're forcing ourselves to live the perfect image. So anything that's going to bring shame and embarrassment to not just the family, but us as black individuals is a no-no.
Yeah.
We want to be perfect. So that's why molestation in the family is frowned upon. Don't you tell. Yeah. And like you said, even the victim is put in a place where now they're saying to themselves, I don't want to get nobody in trouble. Yeah. But you're the victim. Yeah. We're not talking about the incest. The incest in the family trees where you had the father sneaking into the daughter's bedroom, getting her pregnant, and then the brother. We're not talking about that.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah. All of that ties into the mental health and the mental illnesses that we all unfortunately suffer but fail to recognize because it's shameful. Right. But at the end of the day, everybody got problems. Yeah. We all just showcase it differently.
Yeah. And that's it right there. I think if it became, I hate to use the catchphrase of the day, but if we normalize certain things and you said, you know what, it's okay if you're not okay. Right. Right. It's okay if you're dealing with whatever you're dealing with. If you have right now, if you're not in a good space, that's okay. You know, like, but most people, unfortunately, it's like, pick yourself up. Why are you doing it?
Right. What are you crying for?
Yeah.
Be a man.
Especially now, one thing, and I'll say this this is giving you a perspective, right? As a kid, that was the worst thing we could do. Absolute, like, you know, and it's interesting because, again, this goes into a conversation I had earlier. We, as black men, were told, you don't, you know, and I'm only saying this because it's what we were told, okay? So don't cancel me, you know? Don't write no letter.
Don't cancel him.
Yeah, don't cancel me. Don't write no letter, okay? Right. But like we were told, don't be no sissy, don't be no punk, don't da-da-da-da. And that affects you as a child because now you have these men that you look up to and you respect. You don't want to disappoint them. So you learn to stifle all of these emotions you have. And what happens to something eventually
explodes.
Right. And so that's why you have a lot of these guys that are explosive that don't know how to, you know, and also one of the bad things that we learn is that instead of us I don't want you to lose respect for me. You like I'm saying, like if you were my woman,
right?
I don't want to cry in front of you. I don't want you to lose respect. So I'm gonna go over here to Lulu and tell her my problems, and see that's when you get into the thing of, you know, your cheating situation or what have you. You know what I mean? Because now Lulu is listening to me. I'm gonna get feelings for her, right? And then
you're gonna start to compare.
Right.
Well, I can go to Lulu, but I can't go to you, and you my wife, or you my girl.
If you look at it, when people talk about side pieces, right? We're gonna get into something else, right?
Sneaky links.
Yeah, the sneaky link, the side piece, the bust down, whatever you want to call it, right?
Bust down. Whoa.
Whatever you want to call it, right? You know, I mean, hey, you know.
It is what it is.
So, whenever you talk about that, that person is only seeing this fun.
Yeah.
Because the sneaky, the link, all they want to do is link. They gonna link up. Y'all have a good time. Now you go over there and deal with your issues, right? And this seems like fun because it is. Because you know what you did? You got your stress out. You had a good time. You know, you had some conquest.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm trying to be, you know what I'm saying? I'm mindful of how people feel about stuff.
Okay.
And so now you come back to your person. Y'all problems that y'all never talk about are festering. So you walk in the door, I don't want to see your ass neither. And y'all mumbling under your breath. And, you know, I'm so sick of this. Y'all go to bed, your backs are turned. You don't talk. You don't.
Right.
So now with that, what do you, as a person that has a relationship platform, what information do you give to both sides?
So, oh my goodness. It's so interesting because with men have to be okay being vulnerable. Even if you don't want to, even if it's the hardest thing, you have to be okay being vulnerable and transparent. Because when you get to the point in life where it becomes second nature to you, then it's not going to be hard to express yourself. Because just like y'all say, we can't read your minds, we can't read your minds either. But one thing that I've learned from talking to men is that women, listen, when a man opens up to you, do not take what he tells you and throw it in his face later.
Word.
Do not. Because if you do, he will never open up to you again. Ever. And that was told to me from a man.
I hope y'all listening because a word was just said.
I'm telling you. Like, you have to take it in and digest it and understand where he's coming from. And if you don't understand, baby, I'm sorry, I don't understand. Like, help me understand.
Right. Get the tools that you need.
Yes.
Yeah.
Talk about it. Talk about it with him. Don't talk about it with your girlfriends.
Right.
It's like a intimate moment without there being intimacy. It's because he's opening up to you. And if a man opens up enough to you, that means he trusts you.
There
now,
it is.
Ladies, what they gonna do too, right? He may test you. He's gonna tell you something just to see if he can trust you. And if word gets back around and he hears it, and it may not even be the truth, now he know he can't tell you nothing. Don't do that.
We getting deep today.
I'm just saying, like.
You know. And so now, so another point to that is that oftentimes what people don't understand is that every human, man, woman, he, them, they, whatever we don't. Non-binary, whatever you call yourself, you know. Everybody has emotions.
Yes.
Right? And I think that the misunderstanding is that men don't have these emotions and we do. And actually most of the time men are way more sensitive.
Emotional than women.
I tell you, I was on tour once. There was 6 guys on a bus. There was 6 of us on a little small, like a big van. I forget what you call them, but it was. I learned how emotional men were. Because it was just us.
Yeah, that's it.
You know, there were times where we couldn't stand each other. Like I remember literally, and I'm saying we because I don't want you to feel like I'm talking about them and I'm talking about myself. Little things would get on my nerves. Like, why is he, is he going to take a shower today? God dang it. You know, why is he listening to a CD player? Shit making all that noise. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, over it.
Yeah, like, why is he driving like this? You know what I'm saying? And then, we grown, so we're going to, you talk about relationship stuff. So you on the road for a while. Ain't nobody had no Congress.
Getting hot.
Yeah, you ain't had no Congress.
Right.
So you're backed up. That testosterone is at a high level. Y'all arguing about little bitty stuff. Hey, why y'all eating so loud back there? Who the you can tell me how to eat, mom? You know what I'm saying? Like, these are real discussions.
Yeah.
But this is all men. The point I'm making is we are still emotional.
Yeah.
You know, and one of the things, like, you know, I'll just talk about myself.
Yeah.
Right? I remember one day seeing something that reminded me of one of my aunts. And I choked up for a minute. I was like, damn, you know what I'm saying? Now, in that moment, it hit me like, it's a bunch of dudes around. I got to cut this out.
Yeah.
And I had to, you know, I went from like,
You had to
my
catch
aunt is
yourself.
okay. And it was like, what's up, though? What we doing? What we doing? Because I didn't want them to know I was choked up for a minute.
Yeah.
But I'm human.
Yeah.
You know, and that's one of the things that, going in what you said, as men, that having a safe space means everything to us. You know what I mean? And a lot of times, women will ask, well, he went down. He downgraded from me. It's not that he downgraded or upgraded. It was just emotionally in that moment, she may have just been a safe space.
Yeah.
I'm not justifying it. I'm not saying it's okay. I'm just explaining the other side of the argument.
That's what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm going to ask you this from a woman's perspective.
Okay.
Let's lean into it. We lean, you know, this when people lean in, you know what I'm saying? It's like the Thriller cover. You know, when they lean, that means something. You know what I'm saying?
What?
You know how Michael Jackson leaned in the
yeah.
Thriller? You know what I'm saying? So, they, you know, in the 80s, if they was leaning on the cover.
Oh, gangster leaning.
Yeah, when they did that lean,
Yes.
Luther did
They
it,
meant
Lionel
business.
Richie did it. All the classic albums, go back and look at them classics. When they leaned to the side, baby,
Got that
they said
jerk
something,
on.
man. And even if it didn't quite take, because some of them didn't always take,
Yeah.
that's all right. That's all right. So, I'm going to ask a question from a woman's perspective. We're going to ask a question from a woman's perspective, right? So, lately, I see a lot what somebody brings to the table. I also see a lot of there is a standard that I see often, right? A man has to be this, he has to make this much, he has to have this much this, he has to have a, you know, automobile like this, he can't, this, that, and the other. So every time you add to that, the pool gets smaller,
Oh, yeah.
right? So once you get done, the pool is so small.
It's just you.
So my question is this. If you are wanting to have such a small pool that you're going to grow from, and a lot of the things that they're saying, this is only me on the outside looking in, right? And I'm looking at this from a standpoint of, I'm looking at posts and I see, I can't deal with a man if he don't, I can't deal with a man at this. So you understanding that you have now created a pool for yourself that's so small and so unrealistic in some cases. How do you approach that with women when you're having those discussions?
I feel like we're hurt.
Okay.
We're hurt, and we're looking for ways to really prevent someone from getting in and really loving us. So we're going to set up all of these hurdles for you to jump through and jump over and crawl under. Get here. And in our minds, if he really wants to be with me, then he's going to meet this criteria. But it's unrealistic.
Right.
I guarantee you, listen, cuffing season is coming, baby. It's getting cold outside. We want to be held. I guarantee you we do. We want to be held.
Yeah.
But we don't want to feel like we're downgrading because we're just so focused on how people are going to view us. We want that
I'm intense right now. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm really here. I'm
want
right
that
here.
Housewives of Atlanta relationship, even though that's fake.
And, well, we'll get back to that. I want to, yeah.
Yeah, it's fake. So, I mean, as a woman, the information that I can provide to women is just be realistic. Be realistic in what you want. And please make sure that what you want, you also provide.
I can't say that you can.
I mean,
I'm just going to agree, but
you can't expect a man to come with entrees on top of entrees to this table and you got TV dinners. I'm just saying, I'm just saying, like, that's what it is. you go for what you can also provide,
Right.
because it's not fair. It's not fair for a man to have to be a 6-figure guy. He has to be this height. He has to be in shape. He has to throw down in the bedroom. He can't have no kids. But you got kids. You make probably $12 an hour, and that's on a good day. Okay, you don't have your own place. You stay with your sister or your mom, which is nothing wrong with staying with your mom, but you stay with somebody. And, I mean, it's not equal.
Right.
So the same thing that you can say about a man can turn around and say the same thing about you.
But then it's toxic if you do that.
Oh,
I've seen it. I've seen that. I've seen that where guys say, well, you know what? And I've seen him get like drugged. You know what I mean? Because one time a friend of mine posted, I know women that won't date a man that live with his mom, but will date a man that's living with his wife. And I remember it was like, he probably got up to like 300 comments. And it was like, I was looking through, because
the pitchforks and all.
Man, listen, you would have thought it was some hurt feelings.
Like he called Lizzo something.
Yeah.
Like, sir, you about to get canceled.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And so in situations like that, how do you process that?
That's trauma bonding.
Yeah.
That's just a whole bunch of women that have the same mindset that are going to jump on the bandwagon. If we can hate one guy collectively as a group, we winning.
Right.
Because shame on him to make that type of statement.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they say he don't like black women.
Yeah.
He don't like women.
Yeah.
But
that's an interesting thing to me too, because and this is strictly from a perspective. I'm not saying this is what everybody feels. This is a perspective. It seems like when an argument is made, right? If I have seen women say, I have literally seen women that I love and respect that are very intelligent, very intellectual, nothing bad I can really say. But they will post, I'm exhausted with black men, right? I'm exhausted. And you will get ladies putting a finger snap emoji. Yeah. They love it. How dare me say, which I wouldn't, because you know what I mean? I would not say that because I know they're a good black woman. I'm not ever going to say generalizing. I'm not going to do that. But like if somebody did post that, well, however you come, you hate women. You posted the exact same thing 2 days ago. Why was it okay here and wrong there?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's something that confuses me when that relationship talk comes up, because it seems like it's a very unfair playing field.
Right.
We can be criticized. You know, we can be, but it's like I can't, because I'm going to use Aries Spears, that whole thing with the Lizzo thing that just happened, right? So I didn't see the clip. I don't really like him that much. He's not my cup of tea.
He was good before, but he just kind of watered down. I think.
Well, not just that. It's like the whole, you are a comedian. Yeah. I don't want to hear you talking gangster stuff. Or you, I'm, and then I saw you get beat up one time. So it's
canceled
like
everything else you said.
Yeah, I mean, don't act brolic. I mean, you're an actor, dude. You've been an actor most of your life. It's cool that you're not street. It's cool that you.
Everybody don't got to be street.
And that's one of the things I hate in our community. All of us got. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I'm gonna look into the camera and tell y'all something. I had a very limited time in the hood. Oh. I'm a suburban kid. Yeah, okay, yeah. I'm a suburban kid. I one time was in a holding tank 13 minutes. I was in the holding tank for 13 minutes one time. And it wasn't even, I did anything. A fight happened. It was a whole thing. It's a funny story. They just
pulled everybody.
They grabbed all of us, put us in the patio. They didn't even put me in real handcuffs. They had me in like twisty ties. Yeah, they had me in twisty tie, right?
Yeah.
And the cop literally was like, the only reason we're going to put you in there because your boys is wilding. Yeah. We got to separate folks. Yeah. If you don't have no warrant, you'll be gone in 30 minutes. Gotcha. They threw me in the holding tank, right? Yeah. That's the extent of my criminal activity, right? Well, I may have fractured law, but I'm not going to admit to nothing. But anyway.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't recall. But the point I'm making is I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
Right? Even if I may or may not have fractured law, I don't recall. I was never no guy walking around fighting, killing, and stuff. Like I was always the silly dude that I am, right? I don't know that life. Yeah. It's okay to admit that out loud. You know what I mean? And sometimes I think Aries, like a person like Aries Spears, he goes too far to try to prove he's just, you know what I'm saying, blah. Like, yeah. No, dude, you was an actor, man. You've been acting for a long time. I mean, I remember you on old school TV shows before Mad TV. It's cool to just be like, you know what? I'm a professional comedian. I'm a professional actor. And that's when I lose interest in anybody. I don't want to hear all of that street stuff.
When are we doing the most?
Yeah, it's like, even to some degree, like when I hear certain rappers, like, dude, no, you weren't. It's been a long time since you were in the street if you were. You know what I'm saying? Like, let that go.
You can't even go home.
No. So, I mean, that's one of the other things I hate that our community has kind of, the bad part of hip hop we embrace.
Yeah.
Is the whole anti-emotional part. You know what I mean? And now with that, bringing it back to how you deal with, like, with a man and a woman, if they come across unemotional, what advice do you give them?
They got to get help. I mean, because sometimes you can't help everybody. Like, I can only do but so much to get somebody to open up. They have to be willing to open up. They have to want to open up. It's draining when you try to force someone to talk to you, or because then in my mind I'm like, bro, it's your problems. I'm trying to help you with your problems. And you're making it hard for me. You need to get help. You need to get professional help. Like, we're not talking about go to the church. No, you need to get someone who went to school and got a 4-year or however else many years degree.
Right.
And get some real help. You got to talk to someone who's not going to coddle you because they know you.
Right.
And tell you, oh, no, it's nothing wrong with you. Because I'm sorry, there's only but so much energy that I can put into trying to help someone.
Right.
And I think we as men and women, black men and women, have to be okay recognizing that. We can't, I used to call myself the fixer-upper when it came to dating, because I always came across guys that either didn't have a job, didn't have a car, didn't have a license, in between jobs, and I would help get them back on their feet. And I'm like, bro, can I just get somebody that got their stuff together? We have to stop being fixer-uppers. There's nothing wrong with supporting someone, but sometimes you can enable them.
Right.
And not get them the help that they really, truly need. So, get help.
Yeah.
Get help.
And I'm an advocate for that. You know, I mean, and shout out to Fred. You know, when Fred was, we talked about mental health. I mean, he was very open and very transparent, and we both were. You know, shout to him. Love that brother. I think that, too, a point you brought up was that often we don't tell people the truth. You know what I mean? Like, why not pull your friend to the side and say, hey, man, listen. You know, because one of my buddies, we had a fallout recently because a friend of mine and I, you know, if he sees it, I'm not saying his name.
Right.
But he has a kid that he kind of pretends doesn't exist. Right. I understand the reasons why, but the kid didn't ask to come here.
Right.
You know that kid is here. You know. And I was like, man, look, if nothing else, reach out to the kid. I understand the circumstances and I understand everything that goes around it and why you feel like, but the kid doesn't deserve that.
Not at all.
You know what I mean? I get the whole scenario, but it's like, but we had words at first. He was like, you know, you know how, I was like, I've been there. You know what I mean? Me and my ex-wife, we did not have a good time at a certain point. There was a time me and her used to only speak through email that went through the court. We had a guardian ad litem. We would have to send the emails with,
and they would have to read them, and
it would, yeah. I mean, seriously. So I know.
Yeah.
But there was nothing gonna stop me from being in my daughter's life. Right? I didn't care. If that's what I got to do, if I got to send you this email with, you know,
put it on the pigeon ankle.
Yeah.
Listen.
Or the Raven if you watch Game of Thrones. Put it on the Raven. You know what I'm saying?
Put it on a dragon.
Yeah. However you got to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like, you know, another thing that I like that you do on your network, you let different opinions be heard. You know, because a lot of times we don't do both. You don't hear both sides.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like you usually hear one side of the fence, and then there's a fear a lot of times with us. And I wonder, this is something that I'll ask you. Do you think men have a fear of talking to, like black men have a fear of actually expressing certain, let's call it, I don't want to say a negative word. I'm thinking, do you think black men have a fear of presenting a growth item to a woman because we grew up in single parent households with the woman and we don't know how to approach, because that we look at you like me, I like
mom.
Yeah, like your mother is like an authority figure, right? Because I grew up, both of my parents were around. I can't say, you know, I lived with a lot of family, but my father was always in my life. My mother was always in my life. But my mother was more the disciplinarian. My father's probably the coolest person that I've ever met.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's my dad, because all my uncles are these cool Chicago blues guys. But my dad is a real cool person.
Right.
So do you think that we as black men have issues with presenting y'all with things we are bothered by because we are subconsciously looking like this is the authority figure? I can't tell the authority figure that she's doing something wrong.
I could see that. I could see that, and just wanting things to just be perfect between you and the woman.
Right.
Because men are fixers.
Yeah.
So at any point in time, if they feel like there's something wrong, they're just going to come up with a solution. They're going to try to eliminate even having to go to the woman. So I think, and I'm a female, but I feel like men kind of sometimes may have trouble presenting this to the women because they don't want to feel like they're passing their burdens off onto her. Because if you get with the right woman, she going to try to help you too.
Right.
She going to try to fix it. She going to want to take it off your shoulders. So I think men don't want to put their women in that predicament. They rather just bear it all because they don't want to put their burdens out there. And then also, that's showing a form of vulnerability by stating that this is a problem and I don't know how to solve it, which is okay. You can't solve everything.
Yeah.
Sometimes your answers are in other people and other resources.
Right.
So that's what I think.
Yeah. Do you also, this is, I'm about to ask a toxic question, so don't write no letter. This is just, I'm asking a question because these are things I've seen on, relationship discussions.
Okay.
Do you think also that there is a thing where there's not really a good way to approach a woman with things you're unhappy with in a relationship? Because I'm not going to say names, but I have a friend.
Okay.
He was married. He's not married to this lady anymore. They were having issues where they weren't seeing each other because she took on a new job. She was barely home. He tried to approach her and say, hey, is there a way, I know you're working a lot. Can I take off? Can you give me your schedule? I'll take off the days that you're off so we can spend time together. And she was like, how rude of you. I'm working hard and, you just, and he took it from his perspective. Okay, she must be cheating. This is not just the job, because I don't spend time with my wife. And I asked my wife, can I make time to spend with you? And she got upset. So his way of processing it was that. But then when he and I were discussing this, there were a room full of married men. There were maybe myself and two other guys that were not married. And all of them were like, you can't tell your wife that. You have to.
You got to take that on the chin. Sorry.
Yeah, you got to just, when she come to you, then you can talk about it, but you can't talk. This was literally the conversation all the men were having. They were like, well, you can't do that. You can't tell her she's doing something wrong. You have to, if you do it, you have to figure out a way to say it without mentioning what she may be doing wrong.
But, okay, who's to say that she's doing anything wrong? I think it's always the way that you may view it, because women sometimes can be so career focused and so career driven that it could be considered an insult if you try to basically manipulate my schedule to force me to spend time with you on my days off. You don't know what I got going on my days off.
Yeah.
So now you want me to have to sit here and spend time with you, even though you're my husband. But in her eyes, she may not see anything wrong with it.
Right. Right.
And it depends. If she could have been a woman who, if she was single for so long, her mind is already gone.
Yeah.
She's already in independent mode, and the husband is just an additional perk or something. But in a situation like that, a way that I feel like he should approach it, because if he doesn't and you just let it sit here and fester, you're going to assume that she's cheating instead of thinking, okay, well, maybe she's just working towards getting a promotion at work or something. So a way that...
And that's a very good point, right? This is an excellent point.
So a way that he could approach it is more so, what can we do as a married couple to increase the time that we get to spend with one another?
Right.
Because I miss you. So he has to showcase a sense of vulnerability. And if she's a real woman, or a woman who actually cares, then she would take into consideration the fact that he wants to spend time with me. He cares. He misses me.
Right.
But you said they're not together anymore, so apparently that didn't work.
It literally split them apart, because it was a thing where and again, I'm not privy to the real conversation. I'm only getting
bits and pieces.
Right. Well, I did get a little of her perspective.
Yeah.
Because her perspective was, you know how busy I am. You should just, at some point, I would have had time. But, right now, this is what I'm doing.
Was she the breadwinner or something?
I think she was making more than him at the time.
That right there. That ego that comes along with that. It's almost like a sense of a lack of respect for the man if you're the breadwinner. Because leave it to society, the man is supposed to be the provider. She ain't even supposed to be working.
Now, here's the interesting thing for our community.
Okay.
Our community, the black community, is the only community where we typically do make less than you guys, right? And that's been, a lot of things. The information is out there now, right? Up until, was it 72, 70, somewhere in the 70s, you could leave high school with a trade and start working. Most of our parents and grandparents, in the 70s and 80s, they went straight from high school into whatever they were doing. If bus drivers that are in their 40s and 50s now, they left high school, CDL, 20 years old, driving a school bus, 25, 22, 23 years old, right? Plumbers learn that stuff, and you learned that in high school. Somewhere in the late 70s, early 80s, all that was taken out, right? So that changed the demographic where you have to now go to college, right? So you go to college, you rack up student loans. You know what I mean? I know I know a doctor right now, and I was laughing at it one day because I'm like, you the only doctor I know, and I was making fun of him because we clown each other. We friends, we clown. I said, you the only doctor I know is out here in a struggle mobile. How you got all the, you're a doctor, and you sitting out here with me and you got the same car. And he was like, man, my student loan's so bad.
Wow.
He was like, on paper, I'm making a killing. But in reality, all the money I'm paying back in student loans, because we were talking about he told me about the Joe Biden thing. He was like, that $10,000 for me, he said, man, I owe 80-something.
Drop in the bucket,
He was like, the only thing that did for me was gave me a couple months where I was able to put a little bit in savings, but I still got to pay the money. Yeah. And, he was like $80,000. I don't care how you do it. He was like, I gotta still live. I gotta have
his life.
Yeah. He was like, I'm gonna be paying that until, He was like, and so it's like our community, some was shifted, and I'm a conspiracy theorist. I think it was done on purpose, right?
Yes.
Because it was a thing where we weren't wanted in the home, right? We'll give you a place to stay. You can pay $29 a month for a place to stay, but he can't be in the house.
Right.
We'll give you food. We'll give you vegetables. You can go down here and get cheese. You give whatever you want.
Child care assistance.
But you can't have him in the house. So what does that say? What are you really saying?
Right.
Now, at the same time, when we really talk about welfare, we are not the biggest recipients as it's shown.
Right. Yeah.
But there was a time when there would be people that will look pleasing. Like, so you telling me all I got to do is kick him out the house and I can sit at the crib all day, eat a bonbon? Yeah, this ain't the best place, but you know what? I'm not doing nothing either. Right. But that's a low denominator because, being in the workplace, I see way more black women in most places I've ever worked. And honestly, I have always had a report that I upped the food chain that was a black woman. Wow. I very rarely worked somewhere. And I've worked in corporate America. You know what I mean? It's always a black woman somewhere up there. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I'm looking up like, okay, hey, that's who, I respect and admire. Right. So it's like our community is a bit different. Like, for example, did you ever have a black male teacher? Not a gym teacher.
Yes, I did.
I never had a black male teacher.
Really? I had a couple of them. I had at least 5.
No, I had gym teachers. But as far as black males, I take that back. I'm sorry. I went to Mays High School. I had about 2. I take that back. Yes, I did. The brief time I was at Mays, I had maybe 2. But most of my teachers, most of my life were black women. If there was, I had white women too, but I'm saying most of my teachers were women. Yeah. I very rarely saw a man outside a gym that was a teacher. Wow. You know what I mean? And I'll tell you this, because I'm from the Midwest, right? I was originally from the Midwest before I moved to Atlanta. I never saw black people go to work in suits and ties, or even anybody, honestly, until I came here. And I was, 13, 14 when I came here? I had never seen that. Because Michigan City is where I'm from.
Yeah.
It's a port town.
Yeah.
So you start with a different understanding of what I didn't know. Same token, I had a lot of aunts that didn't work. I had my grandmother, she worked, but my grandfather was clearly the breadwinner there. He, you know what I mean? Like, he was clearly, my grandmother, it seemed like she just worked because she didn't want to be in the house.
Right, yeah.
You know
didn't
what I
want to
mean?
be bored sitting around. Yeah.
Like, I had aunts, they were always on. We go over to your aunt's house when you get off work so you can have, so you're not by yourself or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like, our community is built different.
Yeah.
And now that's totally reversed because most of the people that are making money and buying houses, I know way more sisters buying their own house than I know men.
I'm actually going through the process of buying a house now.
Yeah, so, I'm doing it first of the year. Please believe it. Please believe it. But like another thing, like y'all go on vacations.
Oh yeah, they go on vacations, okay? Did we not just sit here and say we was trying to buy a house? They go on vacations. And I just be like, bring me a postcard. Like, I guess for me, and there's nothing wrong if you don't go on vacations, because I feel like it's all about how you sort your priorities. What's more important to you, going to Dubai or buying a house? I'll take buying a house. Because, listen, I can go to Dubai, I'm sure, at any point in time. But buying a house, that's an investment. That's something that when I go, my son will be able to have it. And
let's get back to that, too.
Yeah.
Because that's something we're doing now where they're buying up a lot of the houses and people, and it's crazy because I'm not going to say who, but I had a family member. I had to talk out of selling their house for $200,000. They were like, they're going to give me $200,000 cash. I was like, let me explain something to you. Let me explain how that $200,000
Please
works.
do.
You get $200,000. You're not going to invest it in anything because that's not where your level of understanding is. Let's just be honest. You're going to put that money in the bank. The government's going to come every year, 25% they're going to take from you. Right? You got that money sitting in the bank. You going to have to, you know what I mean? You don't have enough right now where they're going to tax you real heavy.
Right.
But you got $200,000 sitting in the bank. Your government's going to be like,
what you doing with that over there?
Yeah, I need you to come up off of some of that.
Yeah.
Right?
Let me hold some.
Your mortgage now is like from 20 years ago, so you paying $700 something a month.
Why would you want to start over?
You're gonna be paying $1,500-$1,600.
Hello.
And that's gonna trickle out real fast. You're gonna burn through it because a part of you gonna want to do something you ain't ever done. You know, I got this $200,000. Let me go and do something.
Let me buy this new car.
Yeah. You know what? I'm finna push something. I'm gonna go on one of the trips.
Going on vacation.
Yeah. And then what happens? That $200,000 is now $40,000 in 2 or 3 years. Yep. That $40,000 is now gone, and you stuck paying twice what you were paying in rent. You know, because everybody's feeling that crunch. Because I don't care where you are. I mean, I used to live in Smyrna, right? Because I used to run into you right down the street, right? Yeah. So the apartment complex I used to live in, right there off of South Cobb.
South Cobb Drive.
I saw the leasing lady. The leasing lady and I, we sit and talk and we chat. And she said, we got a special right now. Come on through. And I said, you know what? I'm looking for something. Let me go. My apartment, I had a 3-bedroom. It was $1,400 a month. This was then. But it was 3 bedrooms. It was huge. It was a big 3-bedroom.
And how much is it now?
The same one is $2,100. The exact same one. No renovation.
No nothing.
No, maybe a fresh coat of paint.
The economy went up.
Yeah. It's the same, but it's the exact same. And I only wanted the one or 2 bedroom. That's all I wanted. I didn't want the 3-bedroom. I don't need 3 bedrooms. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't need all that.
$2,100. You can go stay at the Battery.
But I'm saying that's everywhere though.
That's ridiculous.
That's Atlanta. I mean,
yeah.
So we are in a time where it would behoove you, if you would, to find you a mate that you can deal with. And listen.
Go ahead, split that rent in half.
Listen.
Everything.
You mad at me? You go sleep. I ain't giving up the bed. You go sleep on the couch.
You better go sit on the patio. Think about it.
I said, you go sleep on the couch.
I said what I said.
I ain't giving up my bed.
Look, we have a sofa couch.
You know what I'm saying? What is the old saying? We don't bring the problems in the bedroom.
Nope.
I'm going to sleep in the bed.
Yeah, no.
You can turn it off. You can put a pillow in. I don't care. I'm going to sleep in my bed.
You're just gonna be mad.
Yeah. We can be mad tomorrow, but I'm going to sleep in my bed. You know what I'm saying? But so now you have the he said what? Did I say it right?
Yes, you did. You just got to give it more energy.
Oh, my bad. He said what?
Yes.
Yeah, see, there we go.
You got it.
I got a yes. I like that.
Yes.
I don't know how to say it the way y'all do it.
Yes.
If you had did the open hand thing, I would have really.
Yes.
I feel accomplished. So tell me the shows you have on there.
Okay, so Sundays, starting at 11:30 a.m. It's a half an hour show. We have Let's Connect with P's Intuition. She does oracle readings and intuitive readings. So it's like tarot cards.
Okay.
And she does, collective readings where she talks about, she'll do a reading for all of the zodiac signs or astrology signs. Sometimes it'll be like a theme. So Libras, she'll do a reading for Libras. And this is the catch, right? You can get a 1-question reading done for free.
Okay.
All you gotta do is just come on. That's it. So that's Let's Connect with P's Intuition. Mondays we have Simplee Sports. That's from 8 to 9 p.m. And that's where RG and One Mic, every now and then I'll pop in, I'll say something. That's our sports show. That sports show is a little different than every other sports show because they do talk sports, but 80% of the show is just casual conversation, bantering, jokes galore. They'll have a guest come up every now and then. And then at the end, they do this thing called Micism, where they'll take something like, you shouldn't throw stones, people who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. And they'll say something like, this was actually one of them, and he'll say, because they'll see you throwing a stone. Right. So it's just
no pun intended.
Just flip. Isn't that something? So that's Simplee Sports. Tuesdays is the Credit Lab podcast, and that's with Ronnie Francois. 6 to 6:30 p.m. And he talks about financial awareness and credit awareness. He tells you how to file for bankruptcy. What is credit? Why is credit important? Why did they not teach us about credit in schools? So, and he has Q&As, so people are free to pop in and ask questions. And then Wednesdays, we have the He Said What show, and that's with myself and my co-host, Alan Newman Jr. That's from 8 p.m. until 9 p.m. Sometimes we go over it, depending on the conversation. And that's the relationships. We talk about dating, relationships, marriages, what's going on. But we try to figure it out from both the female's perspective and the male's perspective. Okay. And we have a segment called Newman's Animal Fun Facts. Every week he comes up with a different fun fact that you might not be aware of. Like, and then sometimes they're a little raunchy. Like one of them is porcupines. Male porcupines will fight one another in order to mate with the female porcupine. And whichever porcupine wins, he will go over to the female. She will lift up her quills and urinate on him. And then they will engage in adult activity. That's how porcupines work. So,
a fun fact that I would have never known, and now that's gonna live in my head rent free.
I'm telling you, if you heard the other ones, you'd be like, "Oh my god!"
But I love National Geographic. So some of the stuff I love National Geographic. It's on you get Disney. It comes with it, right? And some of the stuff you see on there is amazing. It really is. That's really amazing.
Did you know turkeys sleep in trees?
That I didn't. You know what? I did know that because my family in Florida had a farm, and we would see the.
Really?
Yeah. Mariana. Matter of fact, that's a whole story for one day. But no. It's but my family in Florida had a farm. We would go there during the summers. Okay. Can I tell you something that you can laugh at? You can laugh at this. Okay. So I'm 12 years old, right?
Okay.
I'm on the family farm.
Okay.
My dad, my uncles, my grandfather, my great uncles, they all saying that. They were like, "You a man? Go out there and kill one of them chickens." Right.
Ooh.
So, again, you're a man now.
Uh-huh.
Go kill us a chicken.
Wring its neck.
Say that again.
Wring its neck.
They didn't tell me that. Right. So I get the smock, and I'm proud because I'm probably that big because I ain't like I'm tall now. I'm saying like I'm probably that big.
Yeah.
I'm 12 years old. I go and I get pecked a couple times trying to grab a chicken. Finally got one, and I'm wrestling with it, and I'm all the vigor that a 12-year-old puny kid can have. I'm looking at my uncles. I'm looking at my dad. I grab the big machete thing they got sitting there. Wow. And I'm proud. I'm triumphant. I done killed the chicken. Chicken hits the ground and walked.
As he should.
I screamed.
Stop.
Probably an octave so high I probably could have shattered the window if I had been close to the house.
What?
I ran to my father, scared to death.
Traumatized.
It's legit trauma. The chicken ran for a few minutes, and then it fell. I was devastated. Tears, real tears, not fake.
No. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And that's a vulnerable moment for me to tell you that. But it happened in real life.
That's cool.
Yeah, it happened in real life. And I remember thinking I remember they made some chickens, and I kept looking at the thing like, I'm not eating that zombie chicken.
Not zombie chicken.
It was still alive. You can't live without a head.
Oh my god.
It was blood coming out. It's like running, and it
gone.
ran. It didn't just like walk. It was.
He was gone.
So that was that was a vulnerable stone moment. You know what I'm saying?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to just picture a chicken running with its head cut off.
In real life, it happens. I've seen it. I've seen it.
Seen it. Spell that for me. Seen it. Seen it.
SEENT. Seen.
That's bad that I also knew that.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
So, what's next on Bree's agenda? What's the next thing that's happening? I know you always doing something new.
Yeah. So I am trying to get in front of the camera more and actually get on other people's shows and talk with them about what they have going on. I know. I'm going to. Like, it's so cool. Listen, it's so cool here. I'm not going to tell you where we at. Because, no. Just know
y'all don't
that
need y'all running up on me.
No, we ain't got time for that.
I know I said that I do keep a toaster in the car, so don't run up on me.
A toaster? Oh, sorry. I was like, what? Why is he carrying toasters?
Yeah. Because I like hot bread.
Right. I honestly don't know because I do some of everything. I paint, I draw.
You just a full Renaissance woman.
I really am, and I need to sit down somewhere. I need to get back into writing new stories because I have a whole collection of stories that need to be finished.
Well, where's your book?
It's not finished.
Your mind is open, but your heart not pure.
What? Wait a minute.
No, seriously, we got to get this book done and get it out.
I know. It's real good, too. I'm going to let you read, like, one of the stories because
For real?
I'd be surprised with myself. I'd be like, oh, that mind is something.
Well, you got full education and stuff, don't you?
I didn't finish college. I
Stop
did high
playing.
school. I'm serious.
Really?
Yeah. So, okay.
Because I've had to look up certain words you'll say to me. Because, you've sent me a text before.
Stop it.
Like, I need you to whoop, whoop, whoop. And I said, well, before I answer this, I need to know what this particular word is. Because I don't know what that means.
No. So, because I'm a writer. But no,
Yeah.
I did not finish college. So, I had my son. I have a son, of course. My son, shout out to Moses. He is also my engineer on my network. I taught him how to engineer my shows, yes. So, if I ever go out of town, I just hit him up like, yo, Moses, I need you to do this show tonight. Got it. Boom. So I had him when I was 23 going on 24. And at the time
That was last week. So he's only like 2 years old.
Shut up.
So you got a 2-year-old running your shit.
Right.
I'm sorry. I'm be serious. Let me be
That's like
serious.
child labor.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Don't do that. You
People
gotta be
will come
ashamed of
after
yourself.
me.
Got this damn 2-year-old doing all that. Shame.
Whatever. So, yeah, I was in school at the time. And then when I got pregnant, I stopped going to school.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go back after I have him. Once you stop going to school, please understand that the excitement to going back is not there the longer you wait.
Right.
So I kept putting it off,
He's only 2. You got plenty of time. Because you said 24, so you're 26 now, so you got plenty of time.
You hear this guy? Stop it. So I kept putting it off and putting it off, and then I was working full time all the time. I divorced from my husband, so I was taking care of my son full time.
What did you do?
Huh?
What did you do wrong?
You know, I tried to figure that out. I think I enabled him.
You know, I was really joking. I didn't think you were going to answer me for real.
Oh. Yeah.
No, but seriously, but, you know,
I enabled him. I think because I tried to find fault in myself and blame myself for his actions instead of holding him accountable, because he's 12 years older than me. So
you was dating a 30-year-old at 20?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was actually 19 when I was dating him.
Oh, okay.
He was close to his early 30s.
Okay.
But, yeah, so for me, I always thought that, okay, it's something that I'm doing that's making him go out and cheat. Or making him get into arguments with me on purpose so that he can leave the house and go cheat. And then after I had my son, I realized, like, this is my priority, my son. And I focused on him. And I eventually filed for my divorce. And once that was finalized, I moved to North Carolina. So that's how I ended up in North Carolina doing the whole promotion thing.
Okay.
But
What city were you in there?
Greenville,
Greenville,
North Carolina.
Okay.
Eastern, I was going to say Eastern Connecticut. Eastern North Carolina.
Okay.
So I put off school, but then I started working full time, and I would try to take a couple of classes. So to this date, I am 3 classes away from having my associates.
Okay.
And
don't feel bad. Don't feel bad.
Oh, no, not at all. Because I got
you
to the
use a lot of big words. I have to look them words up. I don't know what you You know, you sent me an email once. I was like, Google, what does this mean exactly?
Hey, Google.
Yeah, I had to hit Google a couple times.
No,
I'm not talking about just the expeditiously thing. You use some big words sometimes. I have to look at that. I'm simple. I'm a dullard.
Very basic.
No.
Yeah.
Use because what was that one show y'all were doing? I think it was the one.
The True Serum.
Yeah, and you said something. I was like, is that? Was that English? Did she say?
Is that even a word?
Yeah, like, did she make that up? Well, I look it up on. Let me get on Google. Would you look this at Google? You know, I looked it up. I was like, it's really a word. So I got to figure out how to use it.
You know what the thing is, right? The key is you got to hang around a bunch of educated people. You don't necessarily have to be super educated because
I'm always scared they're gonna know I'm a dullard. I know they're gonna be like, this guy's not bright.
No, see, this is what you do, right? You just sit there and you play cool. You just listen. You don't do a lot of talking.
No.
You do a lot of listening. They're gonna think, oh, he's very observant. And you tell them, I'm just an analyzer.
See that
They're
wisdom
not gonna
she just
question you.
That's free wisdom y'all just got right
I'm telling you, like, you just got to play the role.
Yeah.
And eventually, their language is going to rub off on you. And you're going to find yourself saying words that you really wouldn't have said in the past to somebody else who's basic.
Right.
And now, they're calling you educated.
See? You know where I learned all my big words? Comic books.
Really?
If you read comic books, especially the villains, they always use these really big evil words, and you would be like, I don't know what that means, and you go, like, seriously, I'm not joking, as a kid, because I've always read comic books, like I still do.
Big words sound threatening.
Yeah, it does.
Like,
I remember my grandmother called one of my cousins studious once, and he was like, what did she call me? He didn't know what it meant.
She called you a studio. Called you a studio.
You say you're rapping, she wants you to go to the studio. That's all I mean.
That's it.
So now, Bree, so we know that you have a lot of things, and you're gonna finish your book.
Yeah, I'm gonna finish my book. Yes, I'm gonna definitely finish my book. My goal is to have my own art gallery, and it's not gonna be just for my art, but I want to accept the amateur artists all around the world. They can send their paintings in, and I can hang them out to be showcased, and I will have events that, exhibits where people can come and actually buy the art. And of course, you're going to have to pay to rent that space, but you will have 100% of the commission from your art being sold. Because I feel like giving people the opportunity to showcase their art to me is more important than me showcasing my own.
See, that's a caring heart right there. Because you know what? You humbled me. You know why? Because I am a selfish and spoiled only child. It's not enough that I succeed, but I want to see somebody else fail. I'm joking. I'm joking, y'all. I'm being silly.
See somebody else. Oh my gosh.
Okay. And you know we can't always be serious. We were serious for a long time here, so y'all know. So I'm looking forward to anything else that you have coming.
Yeah.
Anything I can help you promote. I want you to come back though.
Yes, I will definitely
need to come back and have more of these discussions. This is my first time doing a relationship.
Listen,
some relationship discussion.
I got you.
You know what I'm saying?
We ain't even touched the surface.
We ain't touched the surface.
We ain't touched the surface.
Damn, I'm scared. I'm afeared.
Don't.
Is that a word? I'm trying to sound deep. Afeared. Is that a word?
Afeared.
I'm joking.
You were better off saying a different language. Like, speak some French or something.
I'm being silly. So, but all jokes aside, we have Simplee Bree. Yes. Thought I forgot that. No, I didn't.
No, I know you didn't.
I didn't forget. We have.
I want to traumatize you.
No, don't. Yeah, because you was talking about violence.
I get very aggressive with that because I'm like, you know how long
and
it
you
took
work out
me?
and stuff. You got. You got guns and stuff. You be done. Hurt somebody.
You got toasters. Toasters. Yes.
But I want y'all to. I'm gonna have her social media stuff. It's right down there. You just have her social media stuff. The He Said What Network.
We got to do it together.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. He said what?
Boom! You in there? You in there? Yes.
God dog it.
Hot diggity dog.
But I want y'all to follow Simplee Bree, follow NerdSexy, follow NETFREQtv.
Ooh.
Did y'all see what I did right there? Boy?
That was slick.
You know what I'm saying? I had to put on my rock star type jacket because she came in here. You understand? She got a whole ensemble. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking lame. I can't even. I'm gonna have to call Frankie
But
Beverly
you know
or somebody.
what?
What?
This your platform. You can look however you want to look. I'm just saying.
Listen, you know what I'm saying? I can only do what I do.
It's a blessing to be able to sit right next to you on your platform.
Man, listen, I appreciate you. I feel I'm the blessed one. You know what I'm saying? Entrepreneur, writer, painter, actress.
I'm trying to get
you
like
know what I'm saying? Moonshiner. What else do you do?
Wait a minute, because I do. Wait a minute, though, because I do be making drinks and stuff.
You do?
I do. Yes. Next time I come here.
Next time you come, bring something.
I got you.
Now, don't bring too much because, we might have some people that's recovering. They might not need
We don't need no relapse.
No, we don't need no relapse. So, from here at NETFREQtv,
yes.
want to thank Bree again for coming to the NerdSexy experience. You know what I'm saying? Your mama's favorite sexy nerd. My name is Stone. I love all of y'all. Every single, well, maybe not 2 or 3 of y'all, but the rest of y'all, I love everybody. You understand what I'm saying? I really do. I really do. But just maybe not 2 or 3 of y'all, but I really do love it. Most of y'all, majority.
He does.
So,
he does.
But all jokes aside, y'all, thank you for tuning in to NerdSexy.
Yes.
He said
what?
Network. You see what we did? That was like some Run DMC stuff. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Till next time, we'll see you soon. NETFREQtv, NerdSexy experience.
Yes. Peace.
Peace.